Most gardeners think they are helping their soil when they add fertilizers, but many of us are unknowingly killing our best workers. I spent years wondering why my raised beds weren't producing huge vegetables, only to realize I was making simple mistakes that were destroying my earthworm population underground. Today, I'm sharing the 12 critical errors I wish I knew sooner so you can stop hurting your soil life and start growing the biggest garden of your life this season. Looking back, fixing these specific issues earlier would have saved me countless seasons of disappointing harvests. The first mistake is using cheap synthetic fertilizers that are high in mineral salts, which can dehydrate your worms rapidly. When you pour these blue crystals or chemical pellets into a raised bed, they dissolve and create a high salinity environment that burns the sensitive skin of earthworms, driving them deep away from your plant roots. I switched entirely to organic options like slow-release alfalfa meal or compost tea, which feed the worms instead of hurting them. Once I finally shifted to feeding the soil life organically, my plants and my worms both started to bounce back immediately. I used to think that tilling my raised beds every spring was the best way to aerate the soil, but I was wrong. Rototilling or aggressive digging shreds existing worm tunnels and destroys the delicate fungal networks that worms rely on for food. Instead of tilling, I now use a broad fork or simply add compost on top, allowing the worms to come up and pull the nutrients down for me naturally. It took me a long time to understand that a lighter touch with the shovel actually leads to heavier yields on the vines. Leaving your raised bed soil exposed to the sun is one of the quickest ways to kill off your worm population. UV rays and heat dry out the top few inches of soil where worms do their most important work, forcing them to retreat to the bottom of the bed where they can't help your seedlings. I always keep my soil covered with a thick layer of organic mulch like straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips to retain moisture and keep the surface cool for them. When I finally started treating mulch as armor for my soil, my worm population exploded and my beds stayed consistently moist. Earthworms are incredibly sensitive to soil acidity, and if your pH drops too low, they will simply leave your garden beds. Peat moss is a common ingredient in raised bed mixes, but it is naturally acidic and can drive worms away if you don't balance it out properly over time. I now regularly test my soil and add garden lime if needed to keep the pH near neutral, which keeps my worm population happy and breeding. A simple 5-minute soil test turned out to be the missing piece that explained years of struggling plants. Many pesticides labeled for garden use don't just kill bad bugs, they are lethal to earthworms as well. I used to spray indiscriminately when I saw aphids, not realizing the chemicals were dripping into the soil and poisoning the very creatures that build my soil fertility. Now I focus on physical barriers like row covers or biological controls like ladybugs, ensuring that no toxic chemicals ever touch my raised bed soil. The day I stopped using harsh sprays was the day my garden started feeling truly alive again, both above and below the surface. Watering your garden with straight city water can introduce chlorine and chloramines that irritate the sensitive mucus coating on earthworms. I didn't realize for years that my daily watering routine was actually creating a low-level toxic environment that suppressed worm activity in my raised beds. I solved this by installing a simple garden hose filter that removes chlorine, or by letting my watering can sit out for 24 hours before using it. Since I cleaned up the water going into my beds, the soil life has quietly responded with better structure and faster composting. If you are finding these tips helpful for your garden, please take a moment to hit the like button below this video. It really helps this channel reach more gardeners who want to grow organic food without all the chemicals and hard labor. Also, consider subscribing if you want to see more practical guides on building the best soil possible for your backyard harvest. By supporting this channel, you're helping more gardeners avoid the painful trial and error phase that I went through. Walking on your raised bed soil compacts it, removing the air pockets that earthworms need to breathe and move. I made the mistake of building my beds too wide, forcing me to step into them to reach the center, which crushed the soil structure and suffocated the life underground. I now design my beds to be no wider than 4 feet, so I can reach the middle from the outside without ever stepping on the growing area. Designing my beds around easy access instead of just aesthetics completely transformed the health of the soil underneath. Your back will thank you just as much as your soil structure does when you stop having to reach too far. Earthworms need a constant supply of organic matter to eat, or they will eventually die off or migrate elsewhere. I used to clean my garden beds too thoroughly in the fall, removing all the dead plant material and leaving nothing for the worms to consume during the winter. Now I practice chop and drop. leaving plant residues on the surface or burying kitchen scraps directly in the bed to keep the buffet open year-round. Treating my garden like a living pantry that always needs refilling has kept the worms busy, and my crops thriving year-round. It really is a continuous cycle where waste becomes wealth if you just keep feeding the system. While worms need moisture, they can easily drown if your raised bed soil becomes waterlogged due to poor drainage. I once filled a bed with heavy clay soil without adding enough drainage material, and after a heavy rain, all my worms came to the surface to escape the lack of oxygen. I fixed this by mixing in plenty of perlite and coarse organic compost to ensure excess water can always drain away freely. Improving that drainage flow turned my beds from soggy, struggling patches into consistently productive growing spaces. Healthy roots can only breathe and expand when excess water has a clear path to escape. Building raised beds out of materials that conduct heat, like dark metal or thin plastic, can cook your soil and kill your worms in the summer. I learned this the hard way when I used dark metal siding for a bed and found the soil temperature was 20 degrees hotter than my wooden beds. I now stick to thick cedar timber or stone for my bed borders, which insulates the soil and keeps the temperature stable for the worms. Choosing cooler, natural materials for my bed borders created a far more comfortable home for my underground helpers. Even on the hottest July days, my soil now stays cool enough to keep the worms active right near the surface. In colder climates, raised beds freeze faster than the ground, which can be fatal to worms if they don't have insulation. I lost a huge population of worms one winter because I left the beds bare and exposed to sub-zero temperatures without any protection. Now, I pile huge amounts of shredded leaves or straw on my beds in late autumn to act as a blanket that keeps the soil from freezing solid. A thick winter blanket of leaves now protects the soil community, so it can wake up strong and hungry in the spring. You will be amazed at how active your soil is in March, when it hasn't frozen solid all winter. Not all worms are good for your garden, and introducing the wrong species, like the invasive jumping worm, can actually destroy your soil structure. I made the mistake of buying cheap worms online without verifying the species, and I risked introducing a pest that consumes organic matter too quickly for plants to use. I now only buy from reputable local breeders or encourage my native earthworm population to multiply naturally by creating the right conditions. Being selective about the worms I introduce has helped preserve the delicate balance and structure of my native soil. Building a resilient garden means working with the local team rather than bringing in risky outsiders. If you avoid these 12 mistakes, your raised beds will become a worm paradise that fertilizes your plants for free. It took me years to learn these lessons, but you can start applying them today to see massive improvements in your garden this season. If you found this video helpful, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me which mistake you've been making. Protect your worms now, and they will quietly repay you with richer soil and bigger harvests season after season. So get out there, check your soil, and let's grow something amazing together this year.